Hi everyone, welcome to our spiritual sojourn. Hey Tom, how you doing today?
Hello, Laurie. I'm doing really well. How about you?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here today.
Me too.
What
Well,
inspiration do you have today?
well, Laurie and I were unsure what was going to come through today. So we had another of our world famous, world renowned, highly touted informal sessions that we have. And so then some things did start to come through. So we sort of primed the pump and we recorded it as often we do. And we thought, well, okay, now this is a good message. So we're going to share that with you now. We're going to break away to that recording, and then we'll come back and talk about it after that.
We're very pleased to have this opportunity to speak with the both of you today. Understand this is a group of spirit as well as interstellars who have come together to speak with you about the changes that are occurring on the earth and with human beings. This is an important time in your history and development on the planet. For Earth itself is changing quickly. There have been many waves that have come through the different elements on your planet, helping to shift the frequency vibration around the globe. It is following the grid lines that circle the Earth. Many have felt these changes, this energy surging through physically as well as mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. For many, it has been uncomfortable in that you may have had aches and pains that you do not normally have or that have been made worse during this time as these frequencies are shifting. You also have many who have been having more and more disturbances in sleep, also being able to see beings around them, hear messages, hear those speaking that you do not see, to experience odd occurrences around you in your home, such as things moving on their own. Know that this is continuing for a short while longer as these waves continue to move through the earth. For since you are on the earth, you are very much attuned to this and feel them as well. This is in preparation for the bigger change that will come. Know that this is helping you to prepare. We encourage you to make note of it and to rest. Take care of yourself. Do what is necessary in order to allow yourself to simply write it out. In a sense, it is like surfing. You are riding the wave, so to speak, and allow it to be. When you are tired, rest. When you are hungry, eat. Take care of yourselves in whatever way works best for you. We ask that you also spend more time in communication with all of us. Meditate, ask for visitation in dreams, however you best receive messages. Being creative and allowing this information to come through during those creative moments. All of this will help you to stay centered, to stay in conscious contact with your guidance so that you understand what is occurring and will not give in to fear. For many, it can be a time that stirs up fear. As you notice around you, as we have been saying, the fear is growing stronger on your planet. And we continue to ask that you separate yourself from this. Shield yourself from those that would help create fear and generate it within you, for it does not serve. Create your own reality in a sense and live in that balance, knowing that you are protected and being guided by spirit, and that your interstellar brothers and sisters are here to also assist in these transitions and are looking forward to the time when they will be able to meet with you in person on your planet. They are making preparations now for this to occur. We remind you to stay in conscious contact with your soul self, that true being that you are, recognizing the thoughts that your mind generates, noticing them and continuing to release them, and not allowing them to control your life at this point. To trust that you will be guided as you need to be. Call on your guides and angels to help you with this, for we know this is a challenge. It is going to become a bit more challenging as you move closer and closer to that final ascension. Know that you are ready, you are able, and that you will be able to make this transition. Find those that can support you. Not only the beings in the non-physical, but those in the physical world as well, that support you, that are on a path that is similar to yours, that you are able to resonate with. And understand that those who seem to fall away are on their own path. And that is as it should be. Know that we are with you always. You are not alone. Well, they've stepped back a bit. Wow, that was amazing.
Well, that was really fantastic. A lot of interesting things came through there, and I took some notes, Laurie. So let's talk about some of the things that I heard and maybe get your interpretation, and we can both chime in on some of these. But, interestingly, aches and pains changing was one of the things that was mentioned. Things that have never ached before ache now, and maybe some other things have stopped aching. Are you finding that in your life?
Absolutely. In fact, it started over, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, on over the weekend. And I woke up on a Saturday morning and literally couldn't walk because my back hurt so bad. And for 2 days, I had this lower back pain that was just off the charts and nothing seemed to help it. Monday, after this whole wave of energy had gone ahead and receded, I woke up and I was just fine, like it never hurt at all, ever.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
understand that completely. I've injured every joint in my body, but the only thing that's always been okay have been my knees, and now they've started hurting, and nothing else is really bothering me. So it's kind of
yeah,
a change, and I am going to attribute it to that because that's all I got right now. But strangely, oddly, why my knees hurt for no good reason is just unexplainable.
exactly.
The
Yeah.
sleep disturbances are a big deal. I'm feeling them. Are you feeling them as well?
Not so much right now, although again, a couple weeks ago when the first wave was kind of coming through, I had a night where I couldn't sleep. I maybe slept 2 hours, woke up at 2 a.m. and was wide awake the rest of the day.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think I've had that too. And moreover, I would say, I know I've heard at least one friend say that they had that
yeah,
they would describe it just exactly as you just did.
yeah.
And
And usually for me, it used to be full moon would do that or the new moon would do that. But it wasn't even any of those time frames for either one of those was in the middle. So it must have been, I just attributed that to whatever this energy wave is that was coming through.
mhm. Now, are you having the same types of dreams every night right now, or are they different than they had been for most of your life, or what are you seeing?
Sometimes, sometimes I remember that what I've been doing at night, and sometimes I haven't. I had a dream recently where I was in this room and there was this big cat laying in a chair, and I heard this kind of crunching noise, and I reached over, grabbed the thing out of its mouth, and realized it was a big key. Then looked at the mountain lion, or the cat who was looking at me, and realized it was a mountain lion, and it was just looking at me like, you just took my key away. And then I woke up, of course. What I figured out later in meditation was that it was actually relating to this goddess named Sekhmet, who was a goddess with the Egyptians, also an interstellar that I believe was Lyran, which were the cat people and one of the oldest civilizations ever. And she was stepping in, or has stepped in, to work with me for a bit. And apparently she can be human-like with a cat head, or she can look like an actual lioness. And so that's how she introduced herself to me in this dream, which was unusual. I'd not had a dream like that before.
Mhm.
I woke up before, I don't know what would have occurred after that. If she was going to like jump down and, take the key away, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Did you find, did you feel like you had a message imparted or anything different about yourself after you had that dream?
I felt like it was very much connected to these waves that are occurring, that they were talking about in the channeling, and that it seems like the waves are somewhat connected to the elements. And so this one seemed like it seemed like it was connected to water. The other part of this dream was that I had been with a friend, and we'd found this old ornate fountain and sort of pulled it out of under this from this underbrush in a park, and pulled it out. And the key that the lion had seemed to somehow go to that fountain, like maybe that's how you turned it on, or something. It had something to do with the fountain. So I felt like it all was pointing me in the direction that maybe there'll be things going on under the ocean or in any moving body of water. And that will be, again, those energy waves coming through that they were talking about, shifting the frequency on Earth.
Mhm. Lots of
So,
symbolism potentially there.
yes,
And
exactly.
the
Yeah,
fountain could be fountain of knowledge too, as well.
could have been many things, right?
Yeah.
For me personally, it ended up for me being most important because of this connection I feel with Sekhmet, um, and just being able to work with her a little more directly now.
Mm. So if this is happening to a lot of people, what advice do you have for people that are just getting heckled, not really heckled, but kind of heckled at night when they're trying to rest?
I think ask for, a night off, if you will. Just,
Mm.
tell your team, your guides, whoever, I just need a night to sleep. I just need a nice, uninterrupted, peaceful sleep. Do that. The other thing would be to pay attention. And when you wake up in the morning, write down anything that comes through with you that's very vivid, or something that you wake up thinking, huh, did that really happen? Was that a dream? Just write it down if you're not sure. For me, there are dreams which sometimes don't make a lot of sense, pull in things randomly from the day and mix them all up, together. Then there are these experiences that I have while I'm sleeping that are very much real, perhaps in just another dimension or another frequency, that are very important because I'm usually learning something or being taught something,
Mhm.
shown something that I need to know. So try to bring as much of that back consciously with you as you can.
Mhm.
Ask if you need time off to sleep, tell them I need a night off to sleep.
Or even clarification for what some of those symbols might mean.
Right.
Um,
And ask if you're not someone who usually remembers things when you wake up, ask that you do.
yes. And you can actually set that intention as you go to sleep.
Yes.
A piece of wisdom, just a little nugget of wisdom, I think we've mentioned and passed along from, I don't know where I got it, but somewhere. Uh, if you remember a dream, it's a message. And if you don't remember a dream, but you know that you experience something, it's more of a lesson. So you're re-experiencing the lesson. So for whatever truth that may have, but also you can just set the intention to remember your dreams, and hopefully that will be more benefit to people.
I always figure I remember the ones that I need to remember when I wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those of us that get visitations, you know, you run into the same people all the time in your dreams. There has got to be something to that. So you need to ask for clarity. If
Yes.
you just keep experiencing it and you don't know why you run into, you know, Uncle George every night in your dream, you might just ask for clarity.
Mhm. Or ask Uncle George in a meditation, what's the message? What is he trying to convey to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things that came out was about fear, and I took several notes about the fear factor there. Right now, the statement was made that fear is growing stronger through our fabric right now, individually and as a society.
Mhm.
So the advice given was to release those thoughts, and anything that we're creating in our own self that is generating fear, but also release the stuff that's being hurled at you from every direction. Um, I know that's the right thing to do, but that's so much easier said than done. Any
Mhm.
advice on that? Um, for someone like me who is constantly, you know, overthinking things and bombarding my own self with these thoughts, what advice do you have?
One would be stop thinking so much.
Tom, stop thinking.
Stop overthinking everything. I think for me, the biggest one has been avoid pretty much all the news as much as possible.
Hmm.
Don't buy into it. Try not to pay attention to it, because that's right now, to me, for me at least, the biggest generator of fear and anxiety and stress is listening to the news, whatever news it is. And it's almost like it's designed to do that. I also think there's just this energy now that is trying to create as much fear for all of us as it possibly can. One, because that's how it feeds itself and gets stronger, and also keeps us distracted from staying centered in the light, centered in our soul self, and staying in that higher frequency, that higher vibration. So the more we can do that, then the less we feed this other energy that's trying to feed off of us.
Hmm.
And the best way I know, at least my guidance, has been for me to avoid mostly the news as much as I possibly can and not get caught up in it, because they know it stresses me out.
Yeah. And
But
that's a
you
common
have,
thought. We had that
yeah,
last week, I believe, in our
right.
and
I
maybe other times too. It's very real right now. And nobody loves the late night comedian more than I do, but it's just right now I'm having to disconnect even from that.
Exactly, because even hearing someone making fun, it still pulls in that sense of fear.
Hmm.
You're hearing about, whatever's going on or being poked fun at. And I think there are other things, obviously, that scare people, that create that fear within us. It's paying attention to that and releasing it as quickly as possible. Meditation helps that. Anytime I can start feeling fear creeping in, I try to just pay attention to that fleeting thought, recognize it, acknowledge it, and let it go, release it. Because I'm not gonna give it strength by letting it spin its stories in my head.
Hmm.
And some days I'm better at that than others.
Right.
It's practice. It's not perfection by any means, because we're human and that's one of the things that we deal with. So it's, for me, it's about asking myself, is this true in this moment? Is my life in imminent danger? And if neither of those are true, I can let it go.
Hmm.
Is okay, it's just something that I'm making up for whatever reason in this moment, and I don't need to focus on it.
That's a really good measure for what you should and shouldn't, pay attention. That's great. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Another message that came out that has come out several times before is uh, associate with the people that help you get through these things, not the people. And I just wrote find your tribe, and I think that's how we said it last week as well.
Exactly.
Find your
Exactly.
tribe.
Yep.
And then a visual that I just got was all these distractions that are happening are kind of like you're waiting in the airport. And if you get distracted while you're waiting in the airport and sitting in the chair, they might call your flight and you might be, not paying attention enough to get on the plane. So this is a point in time where if you're ready for this energetic change, you might want to be paying enough attention to avoid the distractions, but not get overly stressed. I suppose there's got to be a middle ground there, but that's kind of a visual that just came to me that I felt kind of fits the situation pretty well.
Right. And I think exactly, I think that's a good way to phrase it. I feel like the fear that they were speaking to is that distraction that they're pointing out to us.
Yeah.
Don't get so caught up in that you miss what's really going on, because these waves are coming, this frequency is shifting, everything is changing. As we focus more in on that and allow ourselves to ride that wave, as they said,
Hmm.
the better off we'll be. And I agree, finding our tribe, finding those people that are on their path, but it matches yours, helps, because you have those individuals that can say, yeah, I'm having that same experience.
Hmm.
So you don't feel like, wait a minute, do I need, to check in with a mental health counselor today? So it just helps you to normalize it and to feel not so alone on this path, because sometimes we can feel alone on this path.
Right. This is one of those times where lots of people are
Yeah,
feeling either they're crazy or they're alone or whatever.
right.
Those are part of the distractions.
What heartens me is that there are so many more folks out here now in the world that are on this path, and you can find them. The magic of Meetup, is you
Mhm.
can reach out to almost anybody. There's lots of groups, lots of podcasts, lots of YouTube channels with folks saying similar things, supporting you on this journey. When I started on my journey, that was not available at all. So I'm very excited to see how much it's grown and how much our consciousness has evolved over the years.
Mhm. It
Yeah.
has changed. When I started, we did our podcast with smoke signals. So just so you know.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, was there anything else that stuck out from the messages that came through or anything else that you want to add?
I always come back to, for me, meditation is the best way to stay centered and grounded. And for some people, I know that's a challenge. So find what works for you, but find some form of activity that would help you to really let go of thinking and be focused in the moment, whether that's creating art or music, doing exercise, walking, running, Tai Chi, yoga, whatever it is,
Hmm.
but some way that it takes you out of that monkey mind and more into that focused attention, so that then your soul can speak to you in those quiet moments. The more we can quiet the mind chatter, the more we can hear that quiet little whisper that's our soul self or our guides or whoever's trying to communicate with us.
Hmm. Which is another theme that we've had come through before. Yep.
I just think it always bears repeating, because I know it's a challenge for us as human beings.
It is. And when you listen to it, it makes sense, but that doesn't mean you retain it and practice it. So the repetition is good for all of us.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that, Lori, I'd like to thank you for this has been a really good message that came through, and
Mhm.
your interpretation has really helped, and your advice is good too. So we're all benefiting from that, and this is really an important time for us to be paying attention to good advice. So if you've enjoyed this, please think about sharing it with a friend and smash that like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And you can put a comment down below if you have a follow-up question or if you want to ask a question for a future episode. We'd love to know what that is. And you can always get a hold of us at ourspiritualsojourn@gmail.com. And we promise to get right back to you. And with that, Thank you for your attention. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Well, that was fun.